Hello and welcome everybody, I am your humble host Gavin the Kitty, and today we are playing Donkey Kong Arcade. We are going to be doing arcade and Game & Watch titles today, so with all that being said, I hope everybody's doing well. I am sitting here with my lovely co-host.
Hello everyone, it's me again. It's the Dutchie.
It's Casey Tape. And so while she's here, she's actually still got one more link to go out, but I'm going to go ahead and read chat. So we've got Skylar saying, "What's up?" and "How are we doing?" I'm doing all right. Just getting started with Donkey Kong on Arcade Archives. So the whole point of today is to see whether or not Donkey Kong's original set of games was worth playing. We had things like Donkey Kong, we had things like Donkey Kong Jr., DK3, but we're also going to be looking at all of the Game & Watch titles found on the Game & Watch Gallery 4, as well as Game & Watch Gallery 3, because there's one difference. And I would love to do some other ones, but for now, let's go in. Puppy Dog says, "Boops, welcome." All right, so we're gonna start. Which one should we start with?
I think we should start with the early version.
Sure, why not?
Were you gonna?
Is it not connected?
No, it's not connected. I don't think it is. Wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, it is connected to the Switch. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. Just write out your thing.
Yeah.
The description said that Donkey Kong came out when Mom was born. Yeah, it came out in 81. My mom was, I don't know, 10-ish, give or take.
Said 81.
Yeah, my mom was like 10-ish.
When this game came out in 1981?
I believe so.
My mom was just born.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I feel old. Who else is how am I doing? I'm doing alright. So, unuse, start. Okay. RL. Okay, that...
It's really confusing for some reason.
They've just got different button layouts than what I'm used to. Somebody had chat said their mom was -4. Alright.
Oh boy.
Go ahead and hit start on your controller if you haven't already. Player 1 is up. You are player 2. Donkey Kong is interesting because... So I didn't know that this came with an early version of the game. I wonder what's going to be different. So once again, the idea of this video is to see if it's actually worth it to play these older Mario titles, especially the Donkey Kong ones. We'll also be looking at Mario Bros. I don't have anywhere else to really put Mario Bros in. And
look at Mario did get his start here as Jumpman, so I guess this would make sense.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to think of other Mario titles, but then I'm like, well, there's Mario Cement Factory, and then I don't know any others aside from Donkey Kong. So
yeah,
and Super Mario Brothers Arcade. Well,
there's Mario Bros. Versus Super Mario Bros. Versus them, and then just Mario Bros.
Wrecking Crew.
Puppy Dog says they'll be lurking. Alright, welcome. Well, how is the chat holding up, everybody? I hope they're all doing well. Casey, how are you doing today as we enter the cement/pie factory stage? Because some of the boards actually ended up switching out what they said. So now it's Casey's turn to struggle on Donkey Kong.
So anyone in chat should... sorry. I didn't know.
You're just a bit closer, bud.
For anyone in chat who doesn't know, I've never beaten Donkey Kong nor gotten past the first stage. I've only done it once, and that was it.
So with Donkey Kong, the main controls here in this first game is just left and right and jump. Now, in the original arcade, they had a 4-way stick. So what that means is that you could not hit diagonal. So moving left or right while snagging onto a ladder absolutely would not be possible. You'd only have left and right. Which is what makes Billy Mitchell a cheater. Because he used an arcade board with a completely different board and diagonals on the stick.
I'd have to bring the boy in this. I mean,
I absolutely had to mention Billy Mitchell's score because that is the whole that's the whole big thing about it is everybody likes to mention the King of Kong, which was a documentary over the high score of Donkey Kong that I watched when I was little.
Please, 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 please.
Oh, you could have hit the you could have hit the
I was
fire.
trying.
You could have hit the fire.
That's why I turned around.
You should have just done the fire first.
That's fair. I should have done the fire first.
Uh, Sheba is here in chat. Hello, Sheba. Welcome. I'm sorry that I had to abruptly end our call for Donkey Kong, but Donkey Kong.
How are you, Chiba?
Me and Casey are just vibing playing ZK.
It's your turn, by the way.
Oh, right. Sorry. Right. You died.
I'm surprised I was able to get that far.
It nicked me by the foot.
But I got lucky with the barrel.
I'm not expecting this to go well.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Now I know. Hit
I hope this can save as just a little bit of a distraction.
I pressed up.
Casey, could you keep Oh, you do have the chat up on your phone. Sweet.
Yeah.
So you can actually take a look at it while I'm
Yeah, I can.
crushing it in Donkey Kong, and by crushing it, I mean crying a river of cement.
What if that hurt?
It did that on purpose.
It juked you.
It did juke me.
Yeah.
After this, do you want to just switch to
The normal version?
the original version? Because it seems like this
Well,
early...
this technically is the original version.
But no, this is an early version. Oh, he's going for it.
Oh.
She's going for it.
Okay, can we talk about that swag right there?
Oh no, the ladders. Oh boy. Good job.
Swagger.
Good job. You're now 2 stages from the
And I'm
end.
heartbroken.
So that stage right there is cut out of the NES version, which is why we're not playing it. There is a special variant NES version that does have that stage included. However, it was only released on the Wii as a pack-in
I
game.
can't.
You forgot
I
your
forgot that I have no air momentum after that. I have to commit to my jumps like Castlevania. I find that funny that a lot of people find it weird the way I say Castlevania.
Yeah, it's Castlevania.
Because there will be a rare instance where I'll say like Castlevania.
For those wondering, we are not just stopping at just Donkey Kong. Oh, so close. That one's a tough one to do. That one's the toughest jump right there.
But hey, I went for it.
You went for
I
it.
did pretty good.
This is one thing I really liked about Donkey Kong.
Oh, it had a full thing instead of just your
Yep,
initials?
you didn't have to. You didn't have to worry about character limitations.
I'm trying to think what arcade games actually had this, and not the initials.
Okay. Your name? Because you got the high score now. And the high score does save on this version of the game. I believe there's an online leaderboard as well, run by Arcade Archives. Arcade Archives does a fantastic job with porting over these games. The only my only major gripe with it is their controls can be a little funky, and there's not really a great way to remap certain things. But that's okay, because there you go. Sure, why not?
They'll just be like, who is this Casey tape?
Alright, so back to title screen. So now we have a later version and the international version. I'm assuming the later version
Is...
because these don't have the trademark on it. So this one's gotta be, I'm assuming this one right here is the Japanese version. This is like a beta, and then this is the fully international one that we got. So which one do you think we should do?
And then, wait, hold on.
Some of the color on the title screen's a little different.
Oh, you're right.
Anyway, seems somebody's saying, bruh, I made an alt account about Rousey from Deltarune just to get someone's. Oh my gosh, that's evil. I don't like to think about that. That's not really a thing I'd like to know. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not a good thing. So let's play the later version and jump right in as we're starting. Just gonna. Oh, it's the other one. Hit start on yours. And here we go.
I'm still surprised I got that far.
Yeah, that was really good. We're gonna try to at least get one full board clear.
So, I never really had too much experience with this game.
Oh, the person they were asking was ChatGPT. That makes sense.
Well, I don't have too much experience with this game because I never really played it too much. It was a good arcade title, I just never was a fan of it, as I was with Galaga.
So I know that these are meant to be like kegs, like big barrels of stuff, but you know what I always see? An unamused Pac-Man.
You know what I see on the blue one? There's a skull on it.
Yeah, there is.
Casey's using 1% of her brain. Oh no, we need to stop her.
After this, though, we are going to... I do want to see if they allow us to mess with the dip switches for the international version. So that way then we can take a look at... Maybe give ourselves a fighting chance against this difficulty.
So I noticed that the Donkey Kong sprites for the floors that you're on are different from the one that are in game. So when it shows you how far up you are,
yes,
it's much different from this sprite that we see here.
Yep, it's meant to look goofy and silly, I think, is the whole thing. So, speaking of Donkey Kong, I've actually worked on a DK and a DK Junior machine. In high school, I used to work on arcade machines with a friend of mine who would buy them, and then me and him together would be tasked to clean it up, make it look nice.
I believe you said that you found one of yours.
Yes, I did. I found it in one of the worst arcade spots in Columbus, which makes me kind of sad because they weren't taking care of the machine. But I knew it was mine because we left a little smudge on the marquee. The marquee, for those who don't know, is the title above our arcade machine. Essentially, if the arcade machine has like a board that it'll have a glass board that is placed right above the monitor, and that'll glow sometimes to get people's attentions on their arcade machine. And our Donkey Kong board had a small smudge on the marquee.
Let's go.
KE949 says, "Hey, oh, welcome. You're doing a lot better than me today."
Who, me?
Yes, you.
I don't play this game.
I know, but you're doing a lovely job, Casey.
I'm just being the jump girl.
You want to know what my favorite little piece of trivia about Donkey Kong is?
Let's go.
So, they made a cartoon on a little show called Saturday Supercade back in 1983. And with Saturday Supercade, it allowed them to show off different arcade games to young children on Saturday morning. I'm all the way back here. You're above and beyond where I'm at. This won't be the only time we play something similar to the arcade Donkey Kong. We will also be doing 94, which was a Game Boy re-release with added features, more movement for Mario, and lots and lots of little changes, including lots of puzzles and challenges. It's the precursor to the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Are you playing the Game & Watch Donkey Kong game?
Yes, we will. We'll be doing the Game & Watch games today. So, that was what I was setting up. So,
okay.
It's not just arcade. It's just we're doing the arcade first to get
I think we might be there for a while because I actually kill at that game.
That is perfectly fine. We're going to be doing Game & Watch Gallery 4 in particular.
Oh!
You did it! You did it. You got it.
Okay. Oh, I jumped too late.
So close.
I did get it, though. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you've got one extra life. The thing is that if you're going for all the points, by the time you reach this stage, you'll have an extra life.
I didn't realize you game overed.
Yeah, I game overed. I game overed back at first stage. This game's difficulty, for some reason, is very high.
Wait, what?
I think I'm going to change the dip switch settings for the next run.
I, like, nicked the...
Game settings. Remaining lives. Extend. Screen inversion. So yes, you can change the way your screen is. Um, extending.
KE says heyo.
Yeah, I read that earlier.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Chat, let's get on Casey's case.
No, you're good. So that's the best we've got.
Nintendo of America.
We will go with this, and I'm going to go ahead and change those settings right off the bat. We're gonna give ourselves some more lives.
You said change the what? The dip.
These are the dip switch settings. So the dip switch settings was a set of mechanical switches on the board that would change the way the circuit laid, and that would change how many lives you got, or how high the score was. So essentially, for an extra life, basically it'd be set at 7,000, and you'd only have 3 lives. However, most arcade board owners would set it to 20,000, and they'd rake in the quarters because kids were dumb and the arcades were rigged.
So, Gavin, I have a
Hit start.
question for you.
Yeah, hit start and I'll answer.
So, I was waiting for you to put your quarters in.
I did.
You put in 9. So what arcade game did you kill at? Like, which one was the game that you could just do really good at and get as far as you can?
So, I got pretty good at Frogger, but that was more so the PS1 version of that game, not the actual arcade variant.
We'll still count it.
Okay.
It's still Frogger.
It's still Frogger. But the big thing that I was really, really good at was Pac-Man.
Pac-Man?
Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, I was really good at those two. I always wanted a port of Pac-Man Jr., and then I later learned out why we've never gotten that. And yes, it is upsetting, Chad. I'd love to tell you about it, if you're curious. So Pac-Man and... So Miss Pac-Man and most of the extended family of Pac-Man, it was made by Bally Midway. And Midway didn't have the rights to do that, so that's why we don't have Miss Pac-Man on our stuff, because Bally Midway originally owned the rights. And that came down because Bally Midway contracted out 2 young arcade editors who were making hacked boards that would increase and like extend the life of a machine. So to do that, whoa. So the international just jumps you straight to the end. Oh wait, it adds more floors as you go around. That was a risky jump. We got Cuddly Kong saying Donkey Kong is my father. Alright. Cool, cool.
Alright, I forgot about the gimmick of this stage.
Well, glad to see you, Cuddly Kong. Oh, you thought you could walk through him?
I wasn't paying attention.
Nah, he bonked you.
I was too busy focusing
He got
on
you good.
Funny jump, man.
Boink. But Donkey Kong is gonna be in the Mario movie, which is part of the reason I actually chose to play Donkey Kong this week, because we are only like I think 4 or 5 days.
We're 3, I believe.
3?
Wait, when does it come out?
It comes out I think the 5th.
The 5th. I believe there's only 30 days in March.
On that, we will be doing another. It'll be our next movie discussion. We did one all the way back when Sonic 2 came out, where we did kind of a sit down and talk about it. We'll do the same thing for the Mario movie here.
You said what day does it come out?
I think it's the 5th. April 5th. We won't be going exactly on April 5th, just because I believe that is a weekday and I've got stuff going on. But,
7 more days. We got an entire week.
We got an entire week. Okay.
It falls on a Wednesday.
Yeah, we won't be able to go exactly on that, but we will be. It'll probably our discussion will probably be Saturday, give or take. See, this is my favorite board in Donkey Kong.
Because he falls all the way down.
No, just because I think that the mechanic of hopping over the little pits to make them go away is more interesting than everything else you do in the game.
That's fair.
Hope the chat's been enjoying this so far. If the chat's got any questions, feel free to ask. I am always more than happy to answer.
Oh, that was really risky.
The Donkey Kong Jr. machines are actually slightly more expensive, but the one that I always wanted to work on but never could was a Donkey Kong 3 machine. I love Donkey Kong 3. It is my favorite out of the trilogy. I love Stanley the Bugman. I really want him to appear in the movie because they've been doing so much arcade love recently that I just feel... It's not... Nintendo's not obligated to do so. By no means. But I think it's still, like, worth it. Oh, Casey's in a pickle.
Okay, let me rethink my strategy.
All the enemies try to move to you.
Okay.
After some time.
Oh, dang.
So if they see you on the bottom pillar, they'll just go for you.
That's...
But it's not consistent, so...
I got close.
It's kind of more or less the sound of Mario's feet. Something about that just really gets him off. Because, like, Mario's got this fun, bouncy noise.
There was a Netflix documentary on,
Can you speak up?
Sorry. There's a Netflix documentary out there that covered, the history of video games and how they came to be, and certain companies. I believe one of them was a talk with the sound designer for this arcade game in specific, and he didn't know exactly what to do, but when he presented the ideas that he had to, was it Shigeru was the one who...
Shigeru was the one in charge of the project, as far as I know.
When he presented his ideas to Miyamoto, Miyamoto said, "It sounds so cartoonish, but it works." Like, that's from what I can remember. It's been like 3 years since I've watched this, but I believe it should still be on Netflix.
Yeah, this version is very, very difficult. I do think that before we finish up our first segment here, we should absolutely show off the NES version for the full sake of it all. Especially because it is on Switch Online and we do have the chance to. Donkey Kong being the first title is... It's just indicative. Like, when they showed off Donkey Kong for the movie and they said he had a redesign, I was a little worried, believe it or not. Not because I like Donkey Kong, but because, you know, I know what Donkey Kong's supposed to look like. I've gotten very used to the tie-wearing monkey. However, to see they went with more of a DK1 design, it really did strike a little bit of a chord with me. I think it looks really fantastic. The movie designers went above and beyond with when it came to paying respects to the Donkey Kong mythos.
Because I believe Mario and Donkey Kong fight on steel girders.
Yeah, that too, but there's even more beyond that, just with the design alone. So, like, the smaller eyes, the bigger body, the less... the more cartoonish and silly look for Donkey Kong in general. Just...
I don't know what these enemies are called. I just would call them hotheads.
They're not quite hotheads, but I can see how you could see that. Also, this is the first person to do it! We did it!
Hype it up.
We did our first run around. So the international board, so you do stage 1, and then the final stage, and then afterwards, it loops you back to 25 meters, and then your next time around is all about leveling up the difficulty. So now we're on about where we started out with the early version in terms of difficulty.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So then our next board around... I should have just grabbed the ladder and went for it.
Mm-hmm.
So our next time around here will be stage 1, and then I believe it's stage 3 and then final, and then our last one has the Cement Factory.
I'm still stuck.
Plasma Fly said Mario vs. Donkey Kong GBA. I would love to tackle that. I will be tackling it eventually, but for now, we're doing arcade Donkey Kong. The point of this is less so about, so I had a question a while back. What does the extended Mario universe bring to Mario the character, and the whole idea of the Mushroom Kingdom in the first place? And what I came to was I need to play through everything to get a clear look at each character to make that video. So for this alone, I started out with Wario. We did Wario Land 1, Virtual Boy, and we're going to start 2 later this year. And now we're doing Donkey Kong's arcade and Game & Watch set. And we also have Yoshi later on that I'm going to have to look at. But for now, we've got Donkey Kong, and I just absolutely got wrecked there.
You did get decimated. I won't lie to you, that was kind of unfair of the board. Mario vs. Donkey Kong March of the Minis on the DS. That game, honestly...
I'll cover it. That's part of it.
That game was the bomb. That was a game that I continuously played on my DSi.
But when we do that, it will start with Donkey Kong 94. It won't start with Mario vs. Donkey Kong, because really, the start of Mario being this acrobatic was in that version of the game. That's why I did the top ones first.
Dang. Yeah, there was nothing I could do. Do I have to jump over those, or do they clear when I walk
They clear when you walk over them. I jump over them because I like getting the points.
Okay. I didn't know if I had to jump over, or else like Jumpman would fall through. Oh, should we talk about that? That he's not named Mario in this?
If you want to come closer, a little closer to the mic and tell him about it, yeah, sure, absolutely.
So, in this game, our plumber hero was not known as Mario at the time. Instead, his name was Jumpman.
Not exactly. You see, when it came to arcade owners, they could put anything they wanted on the side of that. Didn't like the name Jumpman? We could put the name Mario. Didn't like that? We could put something else. Sometimes Mario is known as a carpenter, a construction worker, a cement factory worker, or a circus traveler.
And an electrician.
And an electrician. All of these things were called by Mario. And only one of them was called that by, called Mario that by, Mr. Rogers, believe it or not. So I learned this piece of trivia from when I was really little. There was an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood with Donkey Kong in it, and they discussed how Mario was a carpenter, and I thought that was ridiculous. Mario's a plumber. He's always been a plumber. Then I looked it up. No. For this game, he's either a carpenter, an electrician, or a cement factory worker, or a construction worker. All of these things and more. So yeah.
Oh, I can just walk over them.
Yeah, I just like getting the points.
Okay.
I like styling on the fire.
That, okay.
Plasma Fi says it's easier on Donkey Kong 64.
Donkey Kong What's easier on Donkey Kong 64?
I don't know. I think it's because... Well, that one also uses the NES version of the game. Which is actually what we're going to show off here. This game is actually easier than the arcade game. Which is why I reluctantly paid the $8 for the Arcade Archives version for this video. So let's show this off, shall we? So this version of the game is missing a stage. Like, there's no way to beat around the bush. It's missing a stage, the graphics aren't quite as pretty, they had to shrink certain things to make it fit within a TV's resolution, because a normal monitor that would be put into an arcade board is, technically it can be flipped on its side, and it can run like that. And Donkey Kong does just that, it flips it on its side. Later monitors would be built custom fit for that, so they'd have the same line drawing potential as a TV, but properly oriented for a larger display that you'd see in arcades.
I find this interesting. They fixed the issue with Mario's sideburn.
Yeah, they did. They went all out for this version of the game. So when it came time to port the Mario Bros. And pretty much every Nintendo property, the NES wasn't out at the time. So they actually had the rights shilled out to Coleco. And ColecoVision made ports for the Atari 2600. They, their own ColecoVision, the Intellivision, basically any machine that could play a video game, there was a Donkey Kong port. What makes that such a big thing is Coleco did the sneakiest trick in the book. So nowadays, you've probably heard of minor differences between game console versions, right? Like, oh, Breath of the Wild loads a little bit slower on Wii U, but like, that's not a huge thing. It's reading from a disc, not a cartridge. Of course it's gonna load a little slower. Meanwhile, Coleco said, well, we have to make it for all the versions. That's in the Nintendo contract. It'll make us the most money. And they went and made those other versions that weren't on the ColecoVision worse in every way. Missing stages, missing graphics. In fact, somebody actually recently went back to the Atari 2600 version and modified every one of the sprites to make it look more arcade accurate, just to show that, yes, the Atari could handle a good version of Donkey Kong. Other ones would have purposeful bugs not fixed. The PC versions were worse unless they were on a Coleco machine. So yeah, that is something they did, and they didn't get in trouble for it. Because it was so early on in video games that having a worse version on another console just didn't seem to bother most people.
Except for Ghosts and Goblins.
Oh no, Ghosts and Goblins makes me upset, but this version is drastically easier than the arcade versions. So there's that. But it is still, it's accurate enough to get a good feel for it. So Casey, do you think it's about time we switch to DK Jr.?
DK Jr.? Alright.
Yeah, I think it is.
Wait, isn't there a special version of Donkey Kong?
It puts you on the last stage, that's all it does.
Oh, that's all it does?
That's all it does. Any special NES versions, do not worry about it, they just put you on the last stage.
Well, that was just...
I know.
Also, Donkey Kong Jr. was like this.
DK Jr. had less concessions when it made the jump to the NES, but we are still jumping into the arcade variant because I can. And why not? We have the Japanese and the English version. We're going to start with the Japanese version. Controls are more or less the same. So, the story for this one is that... By the way, there's how they put the credits in arcade games. So, the way that you would... The story here is Donkey Kong got stolen by the Mario Brothers, and Junior and asked to go after them. Yes, that other Mario is in fact Luigi. This can be considered his first debut if you really want to, although he's never named in this one. Junior climbs up slower with one vine instead of two.
And, fall damage.
And there is still the fall damage from the original DK. The NES version is a lot easier, and I'll be able to show off a lot more. And the Game & Watch version of this game is really good. So, that'll be something to show off. If chat has any questions, comments, or concerns, I'd love to hear them. So, Casey, what is your experience with Donkey Kong and DK Jr.? Because they are often packaged together.
So, Donkey Kong Jr. was a game that I actually never really played too much of. I played it only a handful of times, but that was more because it was... Oh, gosh. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. It is tricky to get your head across, because instead of just playing playing it with the girders, the rope swinging here is all.
It's the whole thing.
It's the whole game, and it can be a tricky one to play through.
However, Donkey Kong Jr. has a lot of similarities to Mario's movement. One, he's actually got the same jump.
Yeah, he does. He does the same jump pose with his hand up in the air.
So
Even if it's not exact, it's still really close.
Mm-hmm.
If you climb up with 2 hands, you'll go faster. But once you're at the top here...
Oh.
I glitched. Okay.
Did you?
Yeah. So, if you're up against the wall there and try to jump, he will just bounce into the wall and stay on the ground. Not great, but here you got fruits that'll help you get rid of the munchers. These guys are like bear traps. I would love to see them in a new Mario title, however...
You technically do.
You kinda do.
The best way I can describe them is munchers or an early prototype of the Mecha Koopas.
Honestly, the Mecha Koopas have kind of sort of the same mouth, so I'll give you that one.
Well, the ones from World, specifically.
Well, yeah, that's where you see them. They've got the same mouths, that's what I just said.
Well, it's because there's variants as the series went on. I don't like the new variation of them, but more power to you if you do like it. Oh.
So there you go. There's a demonstration of what happens. But you have to get the key. And once you get the key, he is shifted off to the next stage. If you notice, the cage is actually built out of 4 sprites. And the whole thing with that is that with all 4 sprites, the Game & Watch version took this to another degree in terms of the 4 sprites, because you actually have to do each board 4 times because they're smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have vines that are shifting.
Can you jump from vine to vine?
I cannot jump off of vines.
Okay. So...
I have to... do something like that. This is the hardest part of this. I hit down. So essentially, you've just got to get across as quickly as possible, and the speed just isn't always there in the arcade version, and that had to do with Nintendo's aging arcade hardware. The hardware for Donkey Kong Jr., while state-of-the-art, is still a Donkey Kong board at the end of the day. It's the exact same. It's still very similar to a Donkey Kong board. In fact, it just takes a couple chips being swapped out for the whole board to be DK Jr. Which is great for arcade manufacturers, not great for the game design, because now you're dealing with even older hardware. Because the original thing with Donkey Kong was it was built off of the Radar Scope arcade machines, which did terribly, right? And when they did terribly, Nintendo didn't know really what to do. They didn't have any other ideas, and Radar Scope was just another space shooter. And that wasn't hooking people. And when Donkey Kong started to do well, they were still working with that Radar Scope board. So DK Jr. running on that older tech is technically running on hardware from the 70s. 79 to be exact. And by the time it came out, I believe it was 82, 83. But yeah, I don't even really want to put my name in. I think we're good. So here's the English version just for sake of it. Go ahead and hit start. This version had a few bug fixes, sped up the game, did a few fancy localization tricks. This is also the first time we see Jumpman referred to as Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lovely little thing because, you know, characters should have names. Just saying. Name your characters.
Well, guess what, Gavin?
What?
I have a book where characters not named for the first 5 chapters.
You are evil.
They have amnesia.
But you still have to call them something. A nickname of sorts. Not just dude. He's just not a guy. Person. You can't just, you gotta name your characters. Name your characters. You're gonna...
Luigi's pushing nothing.
Oh no. Yeah, Luigi's kind of, silly
Oh,
Billy
they
like
added an animation to that. I didn't even notice that.
Yep. There's all sorts of tinier changes to the international version of the game, which you might notice, which will be really cool to see. But we're about 42 minutes in, and it's about time I chill out at least once for this video. So if you guys could, if you're enjoying the content or the commentary, or just learning new facts, please subscribe, drop a like. It helps us out with the algorithm and allows me to make more higher quality videos for you guys.
I don't know if you heard it, but I turned into a monkey for like half a second.
You did.
That was a burp while I was saying ooh.
You managed to do it. Good job.
That was stressful. I'm
DK
sweating.
Jr. is much, much harder than Donkey Kong. Oh, go. It's still your turn.
Sorry.
You gotta get
So this stage is very much different from the Japanese version. With this one, you actually have to get these keys all the way to the top while dealing with hordes.
It's not different. It's the same.
Is it?
The order is different. So what you do here is you play the first stage, the last stage, then it switches and you play the next stage in the lineup. So essentially, the international variant makes you play the game 4 or 5 times before you get to see everything in the game. It's your turn.
I keep forgetting that. I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
Paying attention to chat because I'm trying to be a good co-host. Okay. I slid way too far down.
Is this the original white or the new one? I'm confused, but Donkey Kong is, this is about as classic as it gets. We're not really playing anything groundbreaking here.
Did they say that Donkey Kong Jr. was in the Mario movie?
Somebody has seen them in the background.
So was there a reason that he only appeared last in Mario Kart?
Yeah, he appeared in Mario Kart Tour recently.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
As a sprite. Oh, so close. We're never gonna be claiming to be masters here. Yeah.
You good?
Can you dump that water?
Yeah, I'll dump it out.
Yeah, thank you. While I go ahead and start getting set up for showing off the NES version. No,
Sorry,
it tasted funny.
Does it?
Like,
Well, don't.
like soap.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna rinse this out a few times, and then I'll...
Yeah, that's
pour you some more
good.
water.
Sorry, chat. We're technical difficulties here.
Technical
water. Is it okay if I just start up DK Jr.?
Just go for it, because I'm really wanting to get the 3.
Okay. So, Junior here was once again released for the NES. The NES has slightly higher power in terms of arcade for DK Jr. to run, mostly because they knew the hardware in and out. So we actually have a very faithful version here that I cannot complain with. I actually think it's more responsive than the arcade version, and it's perhaps your best bet for playing DK Jr. today. There is one other version of DK Jr. that we're going to show off while we're on the NES variants, specifically with a really interesting version that Nintendo likes to put on everything. Xavier says, yes, it's okay to play that game. Yes, absolutely. Here's our first instance of the springs not being a hazard and more so a movement utility. So
I served you in one of my mugs.
Yeah, that might be a little better. I don't know what's up with those cups.
So I washed that one out, and it's on the dry rack, so...
Okay. Well.
But yes, I'm not a fan of this one.
You're not a fan of DK Jr.?
DK Jr. on NES.
Okay. Well, I actually think this version's a lot more responsive than the arcade when we were playing.
Really?
Yes.
That's fair. The one I did play though was on the Game & Watch gallery, which was really fun.
If I can at least get one board. But here, as you can see, instead of going with the international board set, we actually are... We're actually running the... It's actually running like a... NES variant,
the Japanese?
The Japanese version. I can't speak today.
It's okay.
But just like that, we passed another board. I don't believe there is any screens missing.
Whoa.
So...
Okay, you've got me messed up if you think I can pass that boy on the top.
So this right here is... kind of, sort of, where the whole Mario is a electrician, not a carpenter thing came in. No, I don't know. But this is also the debut of a Mario enemy that sticks around for a long time. These guys are Sparkies. Off to the left and right are your safe spots. Make sure to try to drop the fruit down over top of a few enemies, because you can actually hit more than one.
Mario with this generator over there.
And there's that. I at least want to do one board pass, even if I'm not doing it legitimately. Just to show all of you folks. I think this game right here, if it's not packaged with the original Donkey Kong, well, then it darn well should be. This is my favorite stage in terms of just sheer insanity. I just love the way it plays.
This is a good stage. I mean, that's the thing I like about the Japanese boards. They are more fair with it, but then I do like American boards because they add that difficulty that makes you want to come back for more.
I honestly... So when it comes to working on arcade machines, I prefer working on Japanese boards. I think the games are better built. I think they're more fun. But when it comes to working on American boards, I don't enjoy it. But there you go. That's the ending for Donkey Kong Jr., and then you're back to the start. So, actually, before we finish up here with DK Jr., I've got one more version to talk about. And I think it's down here.
I thought you were going to click on Punch-Out. I was like, wait.
Let's see here. Where is it? Did they not include it here?
I think they might have.
They should have.
There's Donkey Kong 3, but...
Did they not include DK Jr. Math? It's not like the great game. It's not one that I'd want on here, but I mean, it's still important. Nintendo was ranting and raving about it back in the 80s.
Nintendo. Nintendo.
Well, I guess I can't show it off. So it has unique stages and levels using the Donkey Kong Jr. engine, but essentially it's all just one big quiz game with randomly generated math questions. And it's
technically you could show that off.
I could show it off, but I'd prefer to do it legitimately, and I've got this set up.
It's kind of sad.
That is. It's kind of upsetting. And it's not even a game that I really prefer. But now it's time for the good one.
The one that Casey actually started killing at when she first started before stream.
Yeah, this was the one we put on practice. This is Donkey Kong 3. Not many people know what Donkey Kong 3 is. Well, I'm here to tell you. It is taking the radar scope idea of a space shooter, applying it to Donkey Kong with a whole new protagonist known as Stanley the Bugman. Go ahead and hit start. So, you gotta protect your stuff at the bottom. You've got 2 honey hives at the top. And a sprayer. You've got 3 levels you can move between. I am rather good at this game, by the way. So this one's actually one where I recommend. I recommend new people to try this game, but go into it knowing that it's going to be a bit different.
This game, the first board honestly gives me a bunch of
That's how quickly you can do it.
the first board gives me a lot of oh, it does a little jig.
But yeah, that's Stanley. Stanley is technically Mario's, I've heard third brother and cousin, I believe his cousin. Stanley is the Bugman, and if you ever played the Game & Watch game Greenhouse, then you played as Stanley the Bugman. But the bugs are evil, so...
And they ate Stanley.
They absolutely did. So that power up there, if you're fast enough, you can keep it going into the next few stages. But if you leave Donkey Kong on the ropes long enough, he'll try to climb back down. Yep. I see that by the bottom text.
Ah, dang.
Yeah, it is tricky. But welcome everybody. So the lead idea for this is fascinating to me. I just love the three-layered concept. I just wish that you had a bit more freedom of movement. But this was there was also a series of Hudson Soft titles ported for the PC 88, if I remember correctly. And they got the rights to Donkey Kong Jr. 1 and 3. Also, here's where the coconuts come from.
Dang it.
So close. Yes, that misspelling was intentional. I figured it was.
I've seen people spell it Danky Kang.
That was what we were calling it when we were working on the boards, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, we were always joking about Dinky Kang.
I won't lie to you, chat. This game is extremely fun.
And incredibly addicting.
It is.
And if you've ever played Greenhouse on Game & Watch, it's the same concept, and I believe the same people. So.
But yeah, by hitting these larvae on screen, they will prevent you from hitting Donkey Kong.
He is absolutely doing this on purpose. He is being a rabble-rouser for all of the wrong reasons. But there you go, Casey, you got it.
Yeah.
But this game uses the same sound chip as all of the other NES and era boards that Nintendo used, so we got stuff like the Ice Climber sound chip, as I like to call it. Just gives me that Ice Climbers vibe.
It does give me Ice Climbers vibe.
And just like that, he's off to the next greenhouse.
You guys might notice this, but one of my plants is... Sorry.
One of your plants is a little bit dead.
Yeah, it's because I didn't get to retrieve that one that I was supposed to retrieve. What ended up happening is it got stolen, but because I didn't knock that
The fly out before
I died, I don't get it back. And it stung me.
If you want to read the chat out real fast, well, I'm taking my turn real quick. Or no, it's still your turn. Still your turn. I got it. The bottom text says Nintendo used to make cards, especially with Disney characters, before making game consoles and games. Yes, they did. But we're not here to really focus on the card aspect, more so the Game & Watch and arcade era for Nintendo. Specifically with Donkey Kong. Which... I think that's pretty good.
I think I got first place.
You got first place. I got second. You killed more enemies and you stayed alive longer. So that's the main thing about DK3. But then they did an NES port.
I'm scared.
And this was the last time we really saw Stanley the Bugman. The PC port had a bunch of extras. It was DK3 Extra, I believe. Or something like that. It was deluxe. I'd love to see it ported over to the the Switch, but it seems unlikely. But DK3 is once again another really good one, especially for the NES.
Can I ask a question?
What's up?
What is the difference between game A and B?
So A and B are difficulty switches. So essentially, if you want a harder game, you're gonna want game B. So there is a difference here with the flowers, if you haven't noticed. They look about fully grown. And they don't really change throughout the levels. Stanley moves around a lot quicker here. He feels a little bit easier to control. It certainly is a shock to see that the NES was getting so much traction in Steam that when it came to their ports, even their games couldn't help but be better on NES. Even though this is a high score grabbing game, I do feel like this is probably one of the best early looking NES games.
It is.
Like, it's got some nice texture in the trees. I wish the flowers had a bit more sprite work done in terms of color.
Ooh, nice dodge.
Dang it. I'm struggling here, but we're seeing more of the boards that we didn't get to last time. If you didn't notice, we do have the NES style, the American style board changes with this. That's just something they did with the American boards for some reason. But that spray, the bug sprayer right there is definitely...
Stanley okay?
Stanley is worried, it looks like. Monkey's up there, and he's still going.
Donkey Kong looks more worried in this version.
He does. He's more expressive. Like I said, the NES version is just better in every way. Except for maybe graphics.
And he didn't fall.
Yeah. There are a few things that I wish they could have done.
But yeah, this game is extremely fun. I would recommend this.
This is a recommendation. So far, all three of the Donkey Kong games are a recommendation, but 1 and 3 seem like the more sane recommendations. Because Junior just is not a game I feel is always worth playing.
Dang.
Of course, when we get to the Game & Watch games, that's going to change dramatically.
And Casey's gonna kill it Donkey Kong on Game & Watch. Are we gonna be doing the modern or the...
We will be showing both.
Okay. I'm happy about that.
And I think we'll start with Gallery 3, which has...
I didn't know I was controlling.
But this isn't the only games that we're going to be looking at for today as well. We are also going to be touching Mario Bros. Arcade, because I feel like there's not really going to be anywhere else for me to put that into a good video. Like, yes, I could put it absolutely anywhere. But even I am like, I've got the
last one.
I did. Dang.
But yeah, this stage really
Pretty
gets overwhelming.
Pretty tough. There's one other stage I believe. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to it without, rewinds and cheats, but...
I'm gonna try.
Casey is definitely better at this so far than I am.
So I guess my main excuse for this is Galaga. Dang it! Okay, that's my one issue. I keep moving instead of standing still when it comes to moving to the left and trying to shoot at the same time.
Yeah, it's a little tough. I wish you could shoot left and right. That would make things a little bit
Or at least
easier.
diagonally, if you're moving left and right.
Mm-hmm. But that is DK3. I don't think there's really anything else for me to say on the matter, so let's just jump into our last arcade version for the day, Mario Bros.
This one, I believe, was a simultaneous player.
Yes, it was. Okay, game. That was a little funky.
Oh.
Oh, hang on. Frame the display on, portion of the wallpaper.
That's odd. Screen filter.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Doesn't... Did you hear it? It was like kind of low in quality.
Yeah. Alright, well, I've got some credits in. Go ahead and hit start. So, this is how this works. We're going to knock shell creepers from underneath, and then kick them.
It even tells you Shell Creeper.
Foxino says, "Hey-o, how is everyone? We're doing quite alright. We
Sorry about
shut
that.
off Donkey Kong." So, this game is technically a competitive game, although you can work together to gain higher points.
That was kind of cute.
Once a shell creeper is knocked over, they do try to flip back over, and if they do, they move faster. All right, I'll let you mention the advertisement for this game.
So there were, I believe, the NES advertisement. It was right.
Atari.
Atari.
It was the Atari.
So there was an Atari ad for this game
That featured Luigi.
That featured Luigi.
And it had his cowardly persona before both the cartoon and the movie would show it off. So we actually end up with a cowardly Luigi long before we have a cowardly Luigi.
And honestly, do you give him any props for being kind of cowardly during that ad? Because
I think the actors for that advertisement did a lovely job.
I mean, he had a claw around his neck. So
He did, but I hope we can show off the sidesteppers and the bonus stage as well as the freezies.
That's right. The controls for this one aren't as good as. Oh wait, we should show this off in advance, shouldn't we?
I should, and I have that set up and ready to go as well.
Wait, but Super Mario Brothers 3 advances on here.
Yeah, I know, that's what we're gonna do.
Oh, okay. But yeah, this game, as you can tell, I'm not super skilled with. It's a bit slippery.
It's the introduction of the POW block, which is a debatable power-up. I would love to know what people think.
Okay, you go left, I go right.
But yeah, we are dealing with some very slippery ice climber-esque controls. Go for the coins.
I'll go for it.
There we go. We got it perfect. Empathetic Apathy says, "Finally got to join. Oh man, this game is always so difficult for my brain." Yes, now we have the introduction of sidesteppers. First it makes it mad. Second it flips it over. Kick it off when it's upside down. And that's how you play through it.
Also, you guys might have noticed the POW block did not reset.
It only resets every...
Oh, sorry about that.
I'm not gonna have enough time to kick it.
You will. Sidesteppers
Dang
do
it.
take a while to get back onto their feet. And that's actually one of the best things about sidesteppers.
If you're playing with one player, you may notice the music here is quite muffled. That is just a limitation of Nintendo's boards. They were not using the highest quality sounds they could, which was a real shame for pretty much everybody. Yep.
Alright, you get it. You go for it.
I got it. We don't have a run button here, so don't worry about holding down run. We've only got a jump button. But this is what cemented Mario as the jump man and Luigi as his brother, which was fantastic for gameplay purposes. Oh, dang it.
Oh, he bit you.
Yeah, he bit me.
That's something we don't see very often. So,
yeah, the whole thing about
shells.
Shell creepers. I should probably state this. The shell creepers are actually early versions of Koopas. They are an ancestor. They are not a I know it sounds silly to talk in such terms, but essentially shell creepers are ancient Koopas.
Okay, I'll get this one. Ah!
Let's wait till he's back down here. Fireball!
We can... Oh, yeah, that's right. We can bump into each other.
Yep.
I keep forgetting that.
Oh, come on. The fire.
I like the little noises that Mario and Luigi's feet make.
Yeah, it's like they're slipping and sliding all around. But this is their introduction to the
I'm
Mushroom
so
Kingdom. You're alright.
I can do this! I can't do this.
Oh, so close.
Something... Oh, wait.
That buzzing is the fireballs. We've got to get rid of this Koopa really quickly.
I was stomping on Koopas and Goombas. On the
Yeah, sure you were, Chris.
Super Mario Brothers.
Empathetic Apathy says, if they're ancient Koopas, I was ashamed that dry bones weren't modeled to look closer like them. Well, dry bones are meant to be deceased Koopas.
In terms of being burnt in lava. Though...
Shell creepers are dumber than Koopas.
Though, to be fair, who was that? Empathetic Apathy? They do present a very good point. Because we have seen fossils of Koopas before.
Yes,
Okay.
it's mostly because they're a mostly extinct creature. It's why you don't just see them running around the Mushroom Kingdom. These guys are known as I want to say Bezo Bandits, but I know they're not Bezos.
They are Bezos.
Well, I thought they were. Are you sure they're not fighter flies?
Actually, wait, that might be it. They might be fighter flies.
Because I'm pretty sure they're fighter flies.
It told us we weren't paying attention. Chat, if anyone was looking in chat, could you please?
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Ooh.
One of them is from Mario 2, and fighter flies are not.
Watch this.
So it'd have to be fighter fly.
They would have to be a fighter fly.
Fighter flies are a bit tricky. They jump, and they like to move very slow when they're on safe ground.
However, in the advanced version of this game,
Which we'll show off in a second.
these enemies actually jump much quicker. I feel like another one we should talk about is Mario Brothers Classic for SNES as well, but we won't be able to show that off unless you want to.
Mario Bros. Classic SNES?
Yep,
This
this was a port of this game.
Is it the same one that was on Game Boy Advance?
Slightly different. It didn't have as many graphics, but it was the base game, about the same.
So you definitely beat me there. But we've still got the same menu screen for it. But we've only got initials here, which is a shame. Once again, more credits hidden in the high score table. Foxman says he still wants to know what exactly Bowser is. Bowser is an advanced Koopa. Empathetic Apathy says, I look back and that's what it said. So, yep, it is Fighterfly. So, I think that's enough Mario Bros. Arcade for once. Let's show off the NES and then the Game Boy Advance version, and then we'll move into Game & Watch Gallery.
The bonus stage theme for Advance hits.
It is really good. And if you've got a Switch Online account with the expansion pack, absolutely worth it to play it.
It is.
I debated throwing in Wrecking Crew and Wrecking Crew 98 into this, but then I thought it would be too long, so... let's see here. Here it is.
So this one actually has the logo that most people would know of.
And it's got more music because of this title theme. Advanced question mark. How did that happen? I will showcase.
Anyways, Mario and Luigi have their more familiar colors.
Closer. It's based on the NES's Super Mario Bros. Palettes. Of course, it makes it a little bit easier to control because we are dealing with an NES controller. I don't know what's going on in the next room, but I hope my mic doesn't pick that up.
It's okay.
I hate the way my neighbors are sometimes.
The one thing that did make the advanced version of this game a bit better was the fact of a run button.
And backgrounds.
That too. What most people don't know is we're actually, aside from the piping, we are in a sewer because if you look down there when enemies fall to the bottom of the screen, they make a little splash.
Yep. We're in a sewer, and then these pipes are actually the pipes that the Mario Brothers went down to see them to be in the Mushroom Kingdom.
So this technically is the origin story of how the Mario Brothers got in there.
Which is kind of neat. It's nifty.
Oh no!
Luigi's gonna fall.
Louis, this is how it ends, Mario. I love you. Tell Aunt Maria.
Oh boy.
Tell Aunt Maria I love her.
Okay. Here we can see the problem of building the sprites the way they did. So we have sprite flicker with this enemy in particular. This did not need to happen. In fact, they could have absolutely drawn the sprites in a better way
What?
to make the sprite flicker go away. Alright, and bonk.
I got him.
Dang it.
Oh my gosh.
It was one of us.
Luigi.
So, this game was then remade for the Game Boy Advance. That's where my knowledge kind of stops. And that version is so small, it fit on every single Mario game on Game Boy Advance. I'm not even joking. It fit on everything except for, I think, Mario Kart and...
Nope, my bad.
Yeah, that just...
I did not mean to do that. That was on me. Okay, yeah, you can rewind that. I'll give you that.
I'm not. I'm gonna wait the timer. So that platform there will... disappear slowly as the timer counts down. Once it hits 0, you are stuck with the choice you've made, and you're gonna land right on the platform below you. So, be mindful about how much time you are using.
Mario, you didn't revive me.
Dun, 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 dun. Alright. But we're having a lovely pass through here. Here's phase 6 with the fighter flies. As you can see, we don't get those lovely cutscenes showing you how to kill each enemy here. I don't know why, but this is another one that got ported all over to different consoles. Donkey Kong 3 really didn't, but Mario Bros. And the original Donkey Kong absolutely did.
I was gonna try to hit him again. Whoa!
There's that.
But yeah, this also appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3 during the Dune player? 2-player mode, where if you land on this, or if you put yourself on the same spot as another player and press A, you guys could duke it out, and it
Battle.
also allowed you to steal cards.
Yeah, you could steal cards, get coins and points, and it was a fun little minigame. And the NES version actually forced you to do that if you landed on the same space as your opponent. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I thought you had to press A.
Nope, that is an addition that they did for the SNES version and the Game Boy version. I found that out the hard way when I was playing it with my little brother.
Wow. Okay, hold on. There,
I was hoping you were going to hit the power block or something. Alright.
Luigi.
Fluffy Zenny says hi. Hello, Fluffy Zenny. So, we're coming about to the final, like, a new original stage. Here we've got Ice. This stage, the advanced version does in fact have somewhat of an ending, but we're not going to show that off here because it does take, I think, either 50 to 100 boards.
I don't know. I just know that Freezies make an appearance in the advanced version.
They do here as well.
They do as well.
Yeah, they appeared in the original arcade version. There is absolutely zero differences aside from the way things look and some animations between the Game Boy Advance. So let's go ahead and switch over to that version real fast. There's a Freezy. Actually, yeah, let's show off the Freezy. Let's wait. Let's wait for it.
So Freezies operate in a kind of an odd way.
Once they find a platform they like, they turn it to ice, and now you've got even slippier physics. So let's head on over to the Game Boy Advance and show you guys what you're missing with Mario Bros. It's wee deep in here.
There it is.
GBA.
I think it's the Japanese one.
It's okay if it's the Japanese version. I can still show it off. I know how to navigate the menus.
So I'm not able to.
You're not going to be able to do this one, and I'm sorry.
This is my favorite version too.
However, with Switch Online, you could actually play the... You can play the 4-player mode, which is new to this. As long as you've got 2 Switches. Another neat little secret is that sometimes, if you're lucky, you get Luigi.
Oh, there he is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a good song, good track.
But yeah.
We have these brand new sprites for everything, which look lovely. Sorry for the folks that are worried about me using a filter here. However, just like that.
The enemies in this one are different. Instead of shell creepers, we have spinies.
Which is a shame, because they brought back the shell creepers for the Virtual Boy game Mario Clash.
They did.
But other than that, there's no other real differences. Nothing really acts differently. They've all got the same colors that they run on, except for the spinies, of course.
I can actually tell you why they changed them.
It was to help save on space, right?
Not exactly. See, people would be forced to think by now that you could jump on shell creepers. So they changed them to spinies to make sure you don't jump on them.
That's fair. Another neat change was they added another POW block, because 4-player can get hectic and you can hit all sorts of things. The run button also helps, and there's one other change that I'd like to show. You have the Mario Advance 2 high jump.
I forgot about that.
So, SMB2's USA's high jump is here in full effect.
Mario actually does a backflip for it, which is also pretty interesting.
This game, though, I have spent hours and hours and hours playing it, and I'm sure most kids my age did.
I won't lie to you, I have as well. There's actually a meme about it that people who own this game only played this rather than the base game.
I played 3 way more than this, but I did play this a lot when I had Yoshi's Island. I'm not gonna lie, this version of the game is pretty awesome, and the music just is cozy. The fact that you see the water and the sewers down here, and we've got different backgrounds, the music, the coins. It's just great. This is a great version of the game, and if it's the only one you've got, then you're living high on life, and especially if you play the 4-player. There are a few other arcade Mario Brothers style likes that will play, like Punch Ball Mario Brothers, Anton Ball, and of course the other PC-88 Hudson Soft exclusive Mario titles. However, I'm not ready to show them off, and I'm not really sure a good way to show them off, so... Because emulation for most of those...
Anton Ball?
Yes, it is.
That's a Wario-like.
Yes, but it's based on this. It is Anton Blast is what you're thinking.
That's fair.
But just like that.
I can't wait to play that, though. It does look really fun.
So let's go ahead and switch over to the original Game Boy games and show off our first of the... Of course, I've got to go back down this way. Here we go.
Is it? Oh, yeah, that's right. This runs both Game Boy and Game Boy Colors. It took me a minute. I was like, what are you doing?
Exactly what I wanted to do, especially because it's a Game Boy game, not a game... Oh, it is a color game. Alright, so Game & Watch Gallery 3.
2's not here. I forgot about that.
So, what we're going to show off here, first up is Mario Bros. This is technically Mario Cement Factory. There is another version of this game, so we're going to save that. However, Donkey Kong Jr. here is actually technically Donkey Kong 3. This was then remade for the Game Boy Advance with a slightly different aspect ratio, but this is actually closer to the original Game & Watch version in terms of aspect ratio and number of button presses. So all you gotta do is get up to Donkey Kong with the key up to 4 times, and once you do that 4 times, you move to the next level. Here we've got Goombas and all sorts of stuff that is coming to attack us. I'm gonna show off the original version, but on the Game Boy Advanced, here in a second. But Casey and me loved playing this when this came out on Switch Online because...
We did a little challenge for ourselves.
And this is one I can recommend. If you have Switch Online and are looking to get some more mileage out of your gameplay and have 2 people, split the Joy-Con. One person controls the buttons, another person controls up, down, left, and right. And from there, you tried your best to get as far as you can. I think we made it past this first stage, but after that, it kind of fell apart.
I don't remember playing this one too much, but...
We did Mario
Brothers.
Mario Bros. We did a lot more.
As hectic as it sounds, chat, it's actually really fun, and it works. It teaches you to, like...
Coordinate. And it's problem solve. Here you have to hold right, by the way, to avoid the muncher. And then once that bird comes back, you just hop on top, go from there. There is, I think, 1 or 2 more levels after this as well. I'm gonna try my best to show them off. If I have to rewind, I will. Also, Shiba says they left to get a bite to eat. Actually, believe it or not, a bite to eat sounds really, really good right now.
That muncher didn't kill you, I'm surprised.
Nope, you are in invincibility frames by the time you are jumping up to the right.
That muncher kind of looks like an automaton.
He does. Muncher automatones, please.
It does look when it falls.
I want a muncher automaton with the leaves being the stick.
The stem.
The stem.
I could make that.
That'd be really cute.
But yeah, I really wish 2 was on here though. 2 is the one with Donkey Kong.
Actually, 4 has pretty much all of the Donkey Kong games except for 1.
4 is the one for Advance, right?
It is the one for the Game Boy Advance. It was also their 3rd to last Game & Watch Gallery game. The other 2 came out on DS and focused on the dual screen aspects of some Game & Watch titles.
I think there's something really cool about certain Game & Watch titles. There were some of them that had I believe it was a transparent screen. So they would display the little characters on screen, but you could see through it and play it with, like, looking towards the sky or something like that.
I don't remember that, but I'm sure somebody out there in the comments will correct or inform. Because I don't think Nintendo actually did that. Every Game & Watch I've ever seen has got a flat back with a piece of plastic on the other side. I have played a real DK Jr. Game & Watch game. As you can see, things heat up and get a lot harder as you go along. Your main goal is just to get as many points as possible. But I think that's enough of this version right here. Let's get to the main attraction, shall we? So this is going to require a little bit more setup on my end, but that's a-okay. So give me just one moment. Casey, if you could read the chat for a little bit while I'm setting this up.
Sure. Shiba says, also, I forgot to tell you and Casey, I have to change Shiba for safety reasons, and I'm going to also go by Gypsy for a while.
That's fine. I'm perfect. I'm down for calling you Gypsy. Give me just...
Here it is.
Okay, you found it?
Climber.
Ah, Climber. So that had a transparent screen.
Yeah. Huh. It's a little difficult to see. But yeah, here it is. It was one of the first to actually have a transparent screen.
That is really cool. I would have...
See-through display. Scrolling screen. So this one was an ice climber, actually.
If you could switch the TV over to channel 4 real fast. I'm sure the audience can hear it just ever so slightly. Nope, there we go. Alright, and now we're all set up with our final batch of games for today with about a half hour left, which is perfect because, yeah. So
I wonder how different this is going to be.
So for this, I have decided to go through and get a complete 100% save file so we can show off as much Donkey Kong and Mario Bros. As possible.
That's
So,
fair.
for the starters, let's start with Donkey Kong Jr. here, because we just showed this off. We're going to do one on Modern Easy and one on Classic Easy, because Hard just changes how many things come at you at the start.
That's fair.
Would you like to start with Modern Easy?
Actually, I'd like to go for Classic.
Okay, I will do Modern Easy then. So here we go. We got more colors, more sprites, but the same concept, and even a remix of the music track they used here. This just is an absolute love letter. I love the way the Game Boy Advance handles this. And the fact that this version isn't on the Switch Online yet is just a pity.
I hope they actually add the full gallery of them.
I hope they do too, because all 4 of those on the Switch Online would allow for every single Game & Watch game to be on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be just amazing. Even
Right.
the ones that they didn't do in the gallery.
That muncher did not change too much.
Yeah, I messed that up hardcore. I didn't know that my back buttons were set for speed up. That was my bad. But
How many did you lose?
2.
Dang. I thought you were gonna run this on retro, so you could have the rewind.
No, we are running this right here because this is what I have working right now.
Okay, that's fair.
I have it working, I have it running, and it's right now the most accurate one that I have.
But yeah, staying true to the art style of the original, we can actually see Donkey Kong still has the same sprites, even in the title screen. What most people don't know is that the Donkey Kong most people are familiar with is Rare's design.
Yeah, but here we even have the tie,
Yeah.
which is really cute. I really like the way the tie design looks on the classic Donkey Kong. In fact, I think the movie's design is just perfect for him because you've got the still goofy looking art style with a little bit of something new.
I loved it. When I first saw the design for... I almost said Seth Rogen. For Donkey Kong.
We've been making this joke for weeks, folks.
Yeah.
Anytime we see Donkey Kong, oh look, it's Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
And there's an extra life.
But yeah, when I saw Donkey Kong's new design, I was really worried because I heard they were going to redesign him because they couldn't use the Rare design. Or they technically could.
They could use the Rare design. The problem is they didn't want to. They felt it was better for them to go with a
Because
different...
Mario got a redesign.
Mario got a redesign. Everybody got a redesign, even if it was minor. So they wanted to keep things consistent. So there's that. So A and B, L and R, and then D-pad. So here's classic. Casey's going to be doing the classic version of this one here. So as you can see, we've got the LCD screen with the designs. And here you actually can't just keep running off to the left. But once again, you've just got to do all 4.
I was not.
You have to catch the key. That is the tricky part about this one, is catching the key. All you gotta do is press left.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, you just have to press left.
I tried.
You can't do it on the back swing, you have to do it on the front swing.
Okay.
I'll show you.
I was gonna...
Oh, if you want to do it, yeah.
I tried to jump. Yeah.
We're going to do a couple rounds here just to give it a go, but this is the first one. This is the one that gets ported a lot. This is, in my opinion, the better version of DK Jr. I just think it's more fun. It takes the climbing mechanics, it takes the Donkey Kong mechanics, and it just meshes them wonderfully. And I think it's honestly just a little better than... Alright.
So
now you go. You have to do it when it's at that straight on viewpoint, but swinging to the left.
I'm actually pressing left and jump at the same time. So that was the thing I didn't know, because I thought I just had to press left.
Okay, sorry, that was on me. But yeah, this is the most accurate and true way to play this game, is Game & Watch Gallery 4. However,
And then
not
I got...
not everything that we're going to show off here is going to be unlocked straight from the start. So with that, we also have Mario Cement Factory and Donkey Kong 3. I think we should just stick with...
Did they remove Stanley from 3?
Well, we're about to find out. So I'm going to show off a modern here. So you catch water and then you throw the bubbles back at Donkey Kong in order to send the fireball and or the boo back at him. And if you get hit,
you know what's really funny about this? I was like, this looks nothing like 3.
it really is nothing like 3. It's
I keep forgetting it's based on the Game & Watch titles, not
not your perception of the arcade.
Yeah.
Which is really a shame because the arcade version would work really well. I suppose we should have probably shown off Greenhouse, shouldn't we have?
Yeah, because...
As you can see, the Boo likes to move on its own. But this is absolutely one of the trickier games in this set. It's meant to be a 2-player game or a single-player game, so... I'm going to let Casey show off Game A.
Alright.
So there is Stanley. See, instead of that, you're pushing bugs around. So you're not actually playing as Mario here, you're playing as Stanley the Bugman. And you use your spritz to hopefully send more over.
Kind of wish we had more games with Stanley the Bugman, because he's honestly a very interesting character.
I really hope he shows up in the movie, because it just needs... I think it needs to be seen.
I really hope we do too, because... Let's see her. Foreman Spike?
Yeah, Foreman Spike's making a big reappearance. And I honestly think that...
Okay, this man is trolling me.
Well, welcome back, Sheba. I'm glad to have you. So, what do you think of this game so far?
It's extremely difficult.
Yeah, I was doing pretty well during practice, but even then... Yeah, I think it was just luck.
This man is getting drops of these of this water much more faster than
Adam Vincent says touch-tone telephone. Actually, this is a Game & Watch, and we are running this via the Game & Watch Gallery 4 for Game Boy Advance. Oh boy, they're going on about telephone. No, they heard the song. Oh, I see. All right. Any luck at this?
I'm trying.
Oh, you're good. He's just trying to hit DK one time.
That's all I want. This girl's got it. I could imagine this being a tournament, like on its own, not just not the classic version, but the modern version of this. Just with 2 players, I could see this being in like some sort of gaming tournament.
Yeah, I really like the way this is handled here, but I am really I'm gonna be honest, this version of the game is not my favorite. I think this is the worst version of Donkey Kong 3. Even though it's not like the arcade version, it's just not good either.
I would have loved to see this as the arcade version.
Yeah, it would have been really interesting to see this as a mode.
Though, technically, Greenhouse is that, so...
Yeah.
Modern Greenhouse is pretty odd.
They're talking about, Adam Vincent is talking about how much they love fried chicken right now.
This is going on way too long.
If you want to just pause and take the exit, we can move to the next one if you'd like.
Hello.
It's the middle one.
Oh, it's the middle one?
Yeah. That's not my choice. That's just the right one just doesn't do what you want it to do.
Okay.
So, we showed off 3, not really the best. We showed off Junior, pretty good. Now it's time to show off Mario Cement Factory. This is slightly different than what you might remember.
Oh, this one, it's actually the cement factory.
So what you have to do is open up the path to give them the dough for the cookies. You can either go to the left or the right. You can fall down at least one space, but all we're doing is watching for the dough to come out on the top, or the cement to come out from the top. Here I think it's more or less a cookie factory, because cement doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm like, what's cement?
I think this is cookie dough.
Should be.
So there it is for that, and then it comes down and it gets baked. Then we come over here. And if the machine overfills or overflows, well then that's it for us. As you can see, I've got 2 stacking up over there. You can have up to 3 or 4 on each side. I am going to be
Mario.
doing my best. So
There's a boo in there.
yep. We need to release it. They plug up the gaps there.
Oh.
So essentially it stops the dough. So if they choose to go into a top one or a bottom one, I've got to clean up the mess for it. As you can see, it does take a little bit to just get really, really good here. It takes a lot of focus and paying attention, but it's just like any other Game & Watch title. Very simple, but simple premise, hard to master, which is something I love in a video game. So if you ever want to see me just absolutely go ecstatic, show me a game that's really easy to play, really difficult to master.
To be honest, Mario Brothers for Game & Watch is honestly really good.
Same.
That was so much fun.
So the 2-player 1-controller one.
Yeah. I really want to do that for like a stream or something, or just in general.
So there's that. We're gonna Casey's gonna show off the classic version.
Right.
Here we have the same premise, although there is fall damage. We got pepperonis. Fuzzy says, sounds like Monster Hunter. Easy to play, hard to master. Not really much of a Monster Hunter kind of guy, but like I could see it. It is very tough to do.
It is very tough to
do. And I think, honestly...
I don't think we should have Casey. Though, Donkey Kong is one that I'd like to try modern.
Alright, well, next up we're going to show off Donkey Kong. For this, I'll let Casey do the modern version. So this is one of the earlier versions of Donkey Kong. This is a early multi-screen Game & Watch game, so actually it had a setup much like the DS game. Once you hit the platform, you then have to jump to the platform, dodge the barrels. Essentially, it is more or less the same. Although the real missed opportunity here is the fact that
I'm gonna be real, this one feels a lot slower than the one on Game Boy. The Game Boy Color version.
Well, that's how you do that. You fumble Donkey Kong, and now you go back to the bottom and you try again. But this is based on a earlier Game Boy release, so all Game & Watch Gallery 4 is kind of like the best of, combining all of the previous Game & Watch galleries into one complete package with as many modern and classic remakes as possible. Of course, instead of Pauline, we have Peach, because at that time, Pauline hadn't been seen in really any game other than Mario vs. Donkey Kong since her original DK debut. Nowadays, though, I think if they were to remake it, we'd have Pauline standing there.
That's true. I mean, the most recent we've gotten was Odyssey. And did they say she does make an appearance in the movie?
She makes an appearance in the movie. She appeared in Odyssey. She appeared in a whole bunch of them. And that's how you do it.
There are 3 separate stages. The The factory, the jungle, and the sky or the ice. I don't remember if it was ice or sky, but there are essentially 3 levels to this, and once you complete all of them, you go back to the factory, but with more barrels and everything else.
More barrels, more things coming at you. Honestly, I can recommend this as a nice companion piece to the original Donkey Kong. I would love to see these stages done in that arcade DK feel.
I would enjoy that.
That would be something a bit different. Of course, it's okay, because we got DK94, which is a suitable replacement for the original DK if you're into a puzzler.
Oh, they changed it here.
Here we have a nice airship stage.
Yeah, they did change it. This was not in the original, so that's neat. Oh, that's what you guys do. Okay.
Oh, and we've got a Koopa to stop you from jumping.
Yep. This came in the later stages. One thing that is to note about this game in particular is it actually speeds up and slows down.
Yeah, all Game & Watch games do that on the Game & Watch gallery, and the reason for that is to keep you playing and enjoying it. So if you die, it'll slow down slightly, or if you make it past the fast part, it'll slow back down. And then it'll speed back up to faster than it was before, and then it'll slow down and speed up. It wants to keep you playing for as long as possible, so I think that's enough of this, though.
Yep.
I think we're good.
Actually, all there is to share.
I'll show off the classic version. So this is how they displayed this one. This one I think is actually better done on the.
I didn't see you at all.
So the way this works is you hit when you start, you hit A when you're good to go, but the barrels start coming long beforehand.
I believe with select you can actually change the screen, but that's from what I remember.
No,
well, no, on the Game Boy.
Oh, it's B.
It's B. Okay.
It's B, and I messed up there. You do start back at the bottom. I think the top screen's a bit harder to do, so I'm going to give it one more go, just to show it off. This is one, once again, I think is one that was better suited for the DS Game & Watch galleries. But there you do not get the lovely remake that you showed off, so.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. It's okay, but it's a shame. I'm presuming
it's right and jump as it's to the far left. This one is extremely difficult.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
On easy, but
yeah. I wouldn't recommend the original. I would recommend the remake there for that one.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, I just don't feel like that felt that great to play.
Well, that is just me then.
So here's Mario Bros, which is one that we really liked here on the channel. So A and B move Mario, up and down moves Luigi. And all you're trying to do here is for Mario Bros is just get them to the top.
However, every so often, the machine will decide to go haywire and cause everything to go backwards, removing candles and degrading the cake as it goes along. There on the far left and right, you can see
Mario and Luigi getting yelled at. They're also...
Oh wait, that's in the modern version. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I keep forgetting that's a modern
feature. That's only for a mistake.
But yeah, if you do fail... Mario and Luigi do get yelled at by their boss.
Foreman Spike. Which is kind of a shame. But that's pretty much all there is for that one. I think
the modern version is
much better. And for this, we've got Bowser. We've got a nice remix of the song from the Game Boy game. You can play this on Game & Watch Gallery 3 on Switch Online right now. You have the switches, so you've got more of that hectic feedback from this game. But Bowser is the one who's going to mess up the machine here. And of course we have Wario instead of Foreman Spike because, once again, at the time they just weren't pushing these older Mario characters, which really is a shame because, like, Foreman Spike wasn't doing anything. Like, what else was Foreman Spike in 2002? Oh, right, yeah, he was working.
I mean, okay, so what is Foreman Spike's specialty or profession?
Construction work.
Well, then there you go.
That's fair. That's fair.
He probably didn't have time to hang out with the Mario Brothers or anything.
He probably doesn't want to. Let's be real. He's kind of a jerk.
He is the antagonist in Wrecking Crew, is he not?
Yes, he is.
Well, then there you go. He just does not like the Mario Brothers.
He tries to get them fired, so. As you can see, you don't want...
Just the manager.
Yeah, he is just the manager. He's just trying to get people fired for no reason. I'm going to show off one full truck here, and then we're going to move to... And I think we're going to move to, one of the...
Oh, there you go. You can see Wario climbing the ladder, which is something that's not really shown in the
GBA version. The GBC, sorry.
Yeah, the Game Boy Color version, because instead he's actually on the top of... He's already inside the car.
He's either on the ground or in the car. There is no in between.
But there you go. Now we got it. But yeah, I like how they drew the sprites for this game, actually.
Yeah, it's quite good. And with that, we've got one more left.
These sprites for Mario and Luigi actually give me Superstar Saga vibes.
Which should be, because, in fact, I believe most of the artists who worked on this game worked on Superstar Saga.
That's fair.
But as you can see, it's more of the same. Now, I could show off... we've shown off all of these, and you might be thinking, okay, what else is there to show with Donkey Kong on the Game & Watch? Well, that's not all of them. You also have Manhole, Tropical Fish, Mario Bombs Away, which I'll show off some other time, Parachute, Bomb Sweeper, Climber,
which is the one I mentioned earlier,
Safe Buster, Lifeboat, Zelda, which is in fact an entire Zelda game.
I will be real though, Zelda is a pretty cool thing on its own.
And we have an exact history of when everything came out. So, if we go down here to 81, we have stuff like Popeye, Chef, Egg. Later on, 81 had Mickey Mouse and Fire. 82 had Turtle Bridge. But also in 82, we had Donkey Kong, DK Jr., new widescreen version. Greenhouse. The NES released. DK2 came out March 7th. And DK2, by the way, is just a slight revamp of Donkey Kong Jr. There is not any differences. I have looked into it. DK Jr. panorama screen, manhole. But yeah, it goes all the way up to 89 with Zelda. Super Mario Bros. Also had one, but I'll show that off some other time.
And here we have Mr. Game & Watch. It's actually one, if not the only time we see him speak.
Yep.
Because he doesn't talk in Wario Land 4.
So is there any other games that I think the audience would like us to go back to as we spend out the last 10 minutes or so here? Anything else you'd like to say on the Donkey Kong matter?
Well, I'm just kind of sad we didn't really get to see more of Donkey Kong Jr. because even though he is cemented as a character, he doesn't have too many appearances.
Yeah. He appears in Super Mario Kart, and that was kind of his final appearance. And then the only other appearance that he had was DK Jr. Math, which I didn't show off for this set, but I honestly, in terms of development history, it's interesting because the Nintendo staff loved that game. But in terms of actually worth playing, I don't think DK Junior Math really is. But that's my honest opinion.
He does make an appearance in the Volt. I think his name is 9 Volt 9.
9-Volt.
9 Volt. Thank you.
9-Volt's minigames in Game & Watch in WarioWare. Sorry.
In WarioWare, but that's about it.
So if I had to say these games are worth playing, I'd say try the arcade trilogy. Give Donkey Kong 3 a shot. If you don't like the way they control on arcades, give the NES versions a try. And all of the Game & Watch versions are absolutely worth checking out, except for Donkey Kong 3 in its original version, and possibly its modern version. And Donkey Kong 2 isn't worth checking out if you've already played Donkey Kong Jr. It's just not worth it.
I do recommend Donkey Kong on Game & Watch Gallery 2, however, because this one feels exactly the same, it just is not as fast-paced as the Game Boy version.
Okay, so this one actually can speed up quite a bit.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. This one does as well on 4 here.
It just feels really slow.
So
I don't know what it is.
that is my recommendation in terms of Donkey Kong. It's great for getting the game started. In terms of Mario Bros. And everything else we've shown off, though, I think that Mario Bros. Is better left for the GBA version, especially if you've got 2 or 3 players. Maybe even 4. But my recommendations here are the arcade originals, Mario Bros, and their Game & Watch Gallery modern counterparts. Other than that, you can kind of sort of steer clear of things like DK Junior Math, Donkey Kong 2 for Game & Watch, and Donkey Kong 3 for Game & Watch. Those are the main 3 that I say stay away from. Everything else here is really good. My honest opinion so far, Donkey Kong is very cemented, but it does feel like Nintendo doesn't know what to do with them. I think anybody can agree, these games feel like they don't know what to do with Donkey Kong. But that's not always a bad thing. It gave us the Wonderful Country trilogy and the Country Returns trilogy by their...
Donkey Kong Land, actually.
And Land. We'll have to show that off eventually. So with all that being said, I think that's it for today.
I don't have anything else to add.
Alright, folks. If you've enjoyed today, please drop a like and subscribe. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to follow me on Twitter and @ me if you'd like, at GavinDragonYT. You can also go ahead and talk to us on the Discord, link in the description, along with the PayPal link, which you guys can generously donate, but it's not necessary. There will also be stuff for you to click on after the video gets done processing, but as far as I'm concerned, that's it for today. You can join us either tomorrow or Friday for Mega Man World 4 for Game Boy. So, I have been your humble host, Gavin the Kitty, and good night, everybody.